some of the worst cases in court that I have seen is when people are trying to evict people within their own house.
What's the deal on rent? And he basically said, F you.
Right.
And so I had to get the cops involved, and it was messy. It was real messy.
For landlords, by landlords. The Rent Perfect Podcast with David Pickron.
Well, welcome to the Rent Perfect Podcast. I'm here with Kent. He's actually our third party to the whole podcast group, but he's usually behind the camera, producing, editing, doing all kinds of good stuff. Kent, good to have you here today.
Where I feel most comfortable.
Is on that side of the camera.
Exactly.
We brought Kent out from the other side because became a landlord recently, but in addition now bought a new home. Stretched a little bit on the home, and now is might think if there's an opportunity to have an extra bedroom that could help me pay some of that mortgage. And I love that you stretched on that new home, by the way, because I think if you're going to stretch anywhere in your life, I think it's on real property and it's on your home. Certainly not insinuating you can't afford it, but if you can get part of it paid and rent out a room, I see why you're thinking that way.
That's right.
So if you stumble across this, you own a home and you don't consider yourself a landlord at the time, when you rent a room, you now become a landlord. And a lot of people don't see it like that because you're really not renting out a whole property. But let's start out with why do I feel I know a little bit about this, okay? A lot of people don't know this, but I own a large eviction company here in Arizona. And some of the worst cases in court that I have seen is when people are trying to evict people within their own house. Okay? Now think about that. You have an issue, whether it be rent or whether it be some other action in the home that you don't get along with this person anymore, or something is going on, or the way they live you don't approve, or whatever it is. They have people over all the time, party in your own personal house. Your wife and you are trying to go to bed. I mean, there's a lot that could happen between roommates versus renters and tenants, right? And all of a sudden it gets you a little bit closer.
Yep.
So now you're in a situation where you ask them to leave and they say, no, I have a lease or I have an agreement. And you're like, I can't live like this, right? Mm-hmm. So then you file. So a lot of times we file what we call an immediate notice. So something's happening. So now it's getting heated inside the house. You don't want to go home anymore, right? And the further along you get in your case, you're still coming home with the person you saw in the courtroom is now living in the bedroom next to you at your house, right? And oftentimes these end with restraining orders and getting people out of the home with restraining orders. Now, I'm going to
By the way, you're I've got some PTSD because I've been through exactly this situation before. Not fun.
Not to start out with doom and gloom, but when my wife and I got married, we never talked about what a divorce would look like. We just never thought that would happen. So a lot of times people get in your situation, they never talk about what if this doesn't go right? But I think that's a conversation you have to have in your head as you own this home, because the reality is you own the home, you're not moving out. You own the home, right? So it's a little bit different. So I'm taking you down a scenario to say, hey, worst case scenario, this could happen. So how can we prevent that from happening, right? How well do you know the people that are coming to live with you? Is it a complete someone who just answered an ad? Is it word of mouth? Is it a friend of somebody you know? I mean, that makes a big difference.
Could it be family?
Right, it could be family. So those are things that you need to realize, that you're actually inviting someone now, not into a business relationship, but really into a personal relationship. And it's very hard when we teach to run rentals like a business. It's really hard to run a rental like a business within your home.
Absolutely.
When there's so much about it. So tell me what you're kind of thinking. Tell me what you've seen. I think there's a big need for it. I think a lot of people are doing it. We just need to make sure we do it right.
Totally. So let me give a little bit of backstory. My wife and I just recently bought a house out in East Mesa, brand new build, but our mortgage is right around 2,500, a little more than 2,500. So financially, we're okay. But would it be nice for someone to come in, especially knowing that this house is an investment property for us, right? The reason why we bought it there, because we knew it was blowing up. We don't plan on being in this house forever.
Right.
So we have multiple rooms that one's an office and one is just a guest bedroom. So recently we were driving and we were like, you know what? We could easily get, like a traveling nurse to rent one of those rooms. We have multiple hospitals near us. We thought, man, maybe someone comes in and rents from us for $800 a month. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out what that would look like. But to help us with the mortgage, and that way we can potentially buy the house off, quicker or get out of there,
Right, and turn it into a full rental.
Exactly.
No, I think it's a great strategy if everything works great, right? It's a great strategy. So I have a little bit bigger home. My kids have left. The way my home was set up, I kind of walled off a little part of my house, and I rent to a little married couple. They have a little microwave in their room, and they have a little refrigerator in their room. They have their own bathroom. But they come into my part of the house every once in a while when they want to do something, and they ask me, hey, we're going to use the pool. They don't even ask if they use the pool anymore. They just go use it. We're fine with that. But they're like, hey, we're going to have some friends over for dinner. Or I need your oven. And so there's a really good communication there, right? But we do have a lease. I mean, we have a lease, and we have it all laid out. What is your space? What is my space? If you're using my space, you need to get permission, And so we have started that relationship with this. And then this is a cute little couple that it's probably that relationship where you wouldn't need a lease and you wouldn't think to have a lease, but I have a lease, right? Because if I get in that situation where it goes south for some crazy reason that I've told you about the court cases, I at least have a document that has what everybody has agreed on, instead of like, well, you told me. See, in a house, there's a lot of conversations that's not recorded. Well, you told me that I could, and then you said it, but you took it the wrong way. I mean, there's just all this communication, so I want everything on paper. So if you do this, make sure you have a lease that's detailed on all of the rules you want to do. Can they come into your kitchen and use your kitchen at any time, right? Can they come sit on the couch, and watch TV? What if you have people over and you want to have the house to yourself one night, when someone's right in the middle of all your business? I mean, you just got to think of all the different scenarios and how you want to live your life, right? I mean, so, you need to think about personally, like, okay, you're in your underwear and you need to run to the kitchen real quick to grab something. Now you got to throw clothes on in your room, right? Or they're the same way, and because the area could become it's a common area now that you both can use. And so you also have to think of, we're going to have to change kind of the way we live a little bit, and it almost puts you as renting your room only if the other area is a common area and you both can share it, right?
That's right.
So you might do something like you need to get your own fridge in your own room. Can't use our fridge, right? You need to get your own microwave. You need to, like, whatever that you feel wouldn't impede on your way of life.
Sure.
So you need to make sure, because you're going to see some changes. Now, the extra money is great, but is it worth it? And that's only you can tell that.
That's right.
So I would just make sure that you just documented and laid out everything up front on exactly what you can do and not do. And even if you're a little bit harsh on it and they're like, yeah, I can't live with that, that's fine. Then don't live here. That's because me and my wife still want to live our lives the way we want to in our own house that we own. And we are giving up a little bit of, not ownership, but a little bit of control of the house to you, which is kind of scary, right?
It is.
In a little bit of a way.
Yeah.
So make sure you do your background checks. You make sure, that you do all kinds of vetting before you just give this is a special relationship that not anybody can fit into, right?
That's right.
But a traveling nurse, is going to spend 10 to 12 hours a day at the hospital, probably going to work a lot, probably just going to come home, watch a little TV in their room, go to bed. They're in from out of town. They don't have a lot of friends. They're not doing a lot of socializing. They're probably a lot tired to cook, and they're probably going out to eat or grabbing something through the drive-thru on the way home. And so their lifestyle as a traveling nurse might work perfect for you because their life spent at the hospital.
Right.
I'm just coming to your house to sleep, So I think that might be a good way to go is to start. They run I think it's a 30-week contract over there. And so it's just a little bit over 3 months. And so let me think if that's right. I'm trying to think. I rented to a few while ago. But they have a contract that's just over 3 months. And so maybe you want to go on Furnish Finders and find yourself a traveling nurse.
Yeah.
And just let someone live there for 3 months and then assess, did that work? Did we like it? And if we didn't, we're out, right?
Yeah.
And if we did, let's go find another traveling nurse and maybe turn that into more permanent. So that's a way that you can baby step into a situation
Absolutely.
like that. So
it also, every house is going to be a little different, right? It sounds like you have a much bigger house than we do. Ours is only 1,500 square feet. It's pretty small. So it makes me think we've got to get real creative with the lease, right? Because that means, so these rooms, they're small. They might be 500 square feet. They're probably not going to have room for a microwave.
right. So if it's a 10 by 10 or 10 by 15, that's 100 to 150 square feet, right? Even a
Small.
500 square
That's-
foot
yeah,
room is
that's
big,
right.
right? And so you're right. So you have small rooms. Now, are they right next to your bedroom? Are they across the house? Is it a split kind of plan?
It is kind of a split kind of
So
plan.
they could have their kind of little wing of the house over here?
Right.
Okay, that's good, right? I mean, I wouldn't want them right up
Totally.
against my room.
Totally.
And doing that. So,
But
yeah,
they are going to have to use common areas,
Right.
especially the kitchen, things like
Right.
that. So we're going to have to get real detailed on that aspect. It might get a little interesting, but
the nice thing about Rent Perfect is you can customize a lease in there. So you can put a short-term in-home lease, and we can help you, get all that verbiage that you need. But,
That's right.
like the traveling nurses are 13 weeks, and it's a little bit over 3 months. And I think that's a great place to start if you're thinking about renting by the room. If you handshake deals, I've seen them go south. So if you're watching this podcast and you're thinking about renting a room in your house, up and over like your physical security and who are you letting in and background checks, what you have to do, I want you to focus on that lease and those rules, house rules. And if they violate them, they're out.
that's it.
Right? And some states have it where you can do an eviction quicker if it's people that live in your house under the same roof because they know of the contention. And other states are like, no, it's landlord-tenant law. You treat them just like they're renting the whole place. So you'll need to check with your state law on how that happens. But ultimately, you go south, you get it, injunction, prohibiting harassment, or order of protection, and serve them up, and they have to stay 200 feet away from the house or whatever if it actually ends up going south. And I hate to be on that. I don't even know why I come back to that. I guess when you see it, you're like, yeah, Kent, I would never want you to be in that situation.
Trust me, I've been there before, and it was not fun to deal with. And I didn't. This was 10 years ago. I owned a house in Mesa, and I was renting to a few of my friends that I was in the National Guard with, and one of the guys wasn't paying for a couple months. And
Right.
I finally approached him and said, "Hey, man, what's the deal on rent?" And he basically said, "F you."
Right.
And so I had to get the cops involved, and it was messy. It was real messy. I do not want to go through that again.
Yeah.
So this time I'm smart enough to know that there are tools in place like Rent Perfect
Right.
to help you with all that stuff.
Right. And it's just really about the people.
That's it.
It's
Yeah.
really about the people. I do think this younger generation rents a room more often than my generation did. My generation didn't go and rent a room, right? Like I look at Airbnb where you can go rent someone's back couch or someone's back room or something like that
Right.
for the 2 nights. And me doing background checks and knowing the creepy people out there, seeing their backgrounds, I'm always like, oh my gosh, I would never do that. But it seems to be a little bit more accepted in the younger generation. So you can do it. you can make money. I think it's a good strategy. You just have to do it the right way.
That's it.
Anything else?
I think that's it. You covered.
Awesome. Well, I'll help you
covered
get that lease together if you decide to do it, and we'll detail it out and make sure you're covered.
I appreciate that.
And then maybe we'll share it with everybody who wants an in-home room rental lease.
I love that.
And until next time, continue to rent perfect.